I'm going to try to be brief on this one, mostly because if I have to talk about this for too long, I think my head will explode, even though that would make for a great video, but it would never get edited and posted up. So we just got to save the special effects for a better story much later down the line. But at the outset, okay, 1.1 billion, or I'm sorry, $101.4 billion. I don't know where the 1.1 came from. I'm sure that's probably going to some disabled, indigenous, lesbian studies somewhere. Who fucking knows? Because the liberals, the only thing that they do know is how to waste money. And when you're spending over $100 billion in a country that is 90% still fucking stagnant, how are you supposed to pay back? And I got CTV News pulled up here first because here's how they're framing it. How the 2021 federal budget impacts you. Okay, they also got another fucking story out there on the side that you can probably see as well. That's everything that you need to know about the 2021 budget, except for how we're actually going to pay it off and where a bulk of the fucking spending is going. Because according to CTV, all that you need to know is that childcare is important. Oh, look at how much money people in major cities are spending. Why is that a government thing? Why is that a government problem? Shouldn't be. Remember, who is the first elected official to institute childcare policy? The CPS in general. He's a man who's going to be celebrating his, I don't know what year he was born, but his birthday's tomorrow. Got a funny little mustache as well. CPS is a relic of the National Socialist Party of Deutschland. Anyways, searching for affordable housing, something that the government should be staying out of. I don't need a big rent-controlled state. Are you a senior in a long-term care facility? If you're reading this, you're probably not, because most of them are dead. Are you a student racking up debt? Oh, Biden's not going to go ahead and forgive your student debt. Don't worry, Justin Trudeau. Well, fuck off. Is the pandemic keeping you jobless? No, the government is. Is your business still struggling? No, it wouldn't be if you just let us open our fucking doors. And this is all couched in, oh, the government's just here to help you. Big Daddy Government is going to come in and it's going to solve all the problems that it created for everybody. So I gotta go to fucking Bloomberg in order to get an honest opinion on this fucking budget, which is atrocious, okay? It took them over a year to table a goddamn budget that is supposed to be every fucking year, and then they shit this out. And then they shit out other terrible policies because the liberal government never wants to leave. They don't want to solve any problems. They don't want to fund things that actually need funding. No, 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 no. They just want to entrench themselves into societal rhetoric with their idiotic policies. And the only thing that Justin Trudeau is good at is taking pictures. The funny little guy is really photogenic. Not the term I wanted to use, but at the same time, I'd like to stay on some platforms. Anyways, as you can see, even just the first fucking line. New spending tops $100 billion Canadian. Debt to reach 51.2% of GDP. Not good. You don't have to be an economist to look at the gross domestic product and see that 51% is debt. In comparison, fuck, we're going broke. Nobody's working. Government boosts long-term insurance. That's great. How long is that long-term going to be? Is it going to be forever? Oh my God, if the Conservative Party wasn't such a fucking train wreck, but at least they're slightly better, because the NDP, we'll get into that shortly, is not your friend, and they're not coming to help you. Unless you're a radical, then they are very much your friend, and you probably want to get butt-fucked by Jagmeet Singh's beard, not his wife. Justin Trudeau's government released its 2021 budget on Monday in Ontario, Canada's first full fiscal plan in more than, oh my fuck, 2 years. But it's alright because he nominated a woman to be the finance minister. Christina Freeland used a windfall and new revenue. Where is this new revenue coming from? Oh, China, right. On the back of a faster than expected economic rebound. It's really not. It's not though. To increase spending, we're leaving Canadians' fiscal track broadly in line with what she projected in her November's budget update. Didn't provide a budget or anything because that would be too much work and she probably had to go on a vacation somewhere. The plan could also double as an election platform. Fuck off. That'll be coming. The Prime Minister weighing a bid to regain his majority in Parliament this year. Not if he's looking at recent polls where he continues to slip, finally, because he's backstabbing the unions, and that's not going to sit well. Here's the highlights of the 724-page document. The government introduced, yes, the $101.4 billion budget in new policy actions over the next 3 years. And here's the kicker. That represents an average of about 1.3% of annual nominal gross domestic product over that time. The cost of the new measures over 5 years is actually closer to $140 billion. Oh, we're never going to get out of debt. Never, ever, ever. Our province was once Alberta, not that long ago. In my lifetime, in fact. Almost in my driving lifetime. Just barely missed out on that. And after Ralph Klein balanced the budgets, created a surplus, everybody got $500 in Ralph Klein bucks. God, those were the days. Those were the days in the early aughts. Stephen Harper was prime minister, or maybe he wasn't. Maybe it was Paul Martin for a minute. Who knows? They bounced around for a while, and then we had a great economy. We had just an overall great country, and then the fucking drama teacher swooped in with his feathered haircut and his empty head. The budgetary balance is expected to show a deficit of $354 billion. Like I said, it doesn't seem much by American standards, but that is more than we've ever had ever. Like, add up the deficit ever, and it doesn't come close to that. For a fiscal year that has ended in March 31st, or 16.1% of GDP, that declines to $154.7 billion in 2021 and $30.7 billion by 2025. Hopefully he will be back in the temp pool by then, or approximately 1% of the GDP. Federal debt is expected to peak at 51.2% of GDP in 2021. But there's a new economic windfall coming. How can the debt continue to be going up? Fucking retards. Declining to 49.2% of the GDP by 2025. Yeah, if you don't let people open back up, guess what? Those will just be estimates long in the fucking rearview mirror, where you can hang an air freshener and then get pulled over and shot by the cops. That's what I hear. As a share of the economy, the fiscal track is about where it was in November. Wait, I thought it was rebounding. Oh, you just do a little bit of reading and then you realize it's all horseshit, all smoke and mirrors, just designed to trick you into thinking that the Liberals are actually good. With annual deficits averaging 5.8% of GDP over 5 years versus 5.7 in November. Such a great rebound, guys, when the debt's going to be over half. Fuck me in the butt. The marquee items, well, actually, that's what the government's doing. I don't need to ask for it. The marquee item is new childcare and early learning, so they can propagandize your kids even sooner. How would you stay out of this shit, you fuckers? Or about $30 billion over 5 years with the intention of creating a subsidized program offering $10 a day care. Oh my God. I don't want to send any kid to a fucking government-controlled institution. Why don't you address the real problem? Why don't you address two-parent households? Why don't you address the destabilization of the nuclear family? Why don't you do that kind of stuff? No, I guess it's easier to just put a band-aid over a head wound. Bond insurance in 2021 will decline to $286 billion from $374 billion in the previous fiscal year. The government wants to issue more than 40% of its bonds in maturity of 10 years or more, up from 15% pre-pandemic. Look at the shell game that's taken place, guys. That includes a reopening of 50-year issues. I would not be buying a 50-year issue under a current Liberal government in Canada, unless, of course, you just think that the burning money is contributing to global warming. The government pledged to reduce federal debt. Oh, I'm sorry. That was almost too funny to read. As a share of the economy over the medium term, and which is called a new fiscal anchor. Yes, around everyone's collective necks. Let's just get to some marquee items, because that was just the, this is quite a long article. It's quite important as well. And then we got to get to tax changes as well. $3 billion over 5 years to enhance sickness benefits. Okay, yeah, really great. Freeland is allocating up to $30 billion over the next 5 years of the initiative, which will go to negotiation with the provinces, and that's for their daycare fund. Fuck off. Extends the budget 2021 extends the flagship wage subsidy program until September 25th, while decreasing the subsidy rate beginning in July. So that's more money for more people not working. Yay! Can you see the shell game taking place? The government will top up old age security payments at a cost of $12 billion over 5 years. Good thing he got rid of every old senior that's in the long-term care facilities. Breland is raising the federal minimum wage to $15 per hour. Good thing that she's on top of the important issues. Fucking bitch. Additional net spending over 5... See how there's nothing in here that has to do with, you know, actual jobs? It's more or less supporting bums and propagandizing kids. We can't forget that part. Healthcare measures, just about $10 billion. Immediate pandemic support. How about just let people go back to work? Human capital support. Fuck off. Support for Canadian businesses. $16 billion. But pandemic support is twice that much. Yep. Housing and infrastructure. Oh, good. It's about at the same clip that Joe Biden's big trillions of dollars spending plan. Instead of 600 billion, sorry, we get 17 out of 101. A little bit better of a clip, but come on now, don't make me fucking laugh. Equality and seniors. But what if I'm a minority senior or indigenous funding? $13 billion. Old folks get 10. Scope chuggers get 13. Oh my god. Oh my god. I hope my headdress gets here from Amazon very shortly. Tax changes. Remember how the economy is improving? This is how they torpedo it. The big tax change is a proposal in limiting the amount of interest payments certain businesses can deduct on their taxes to 40% in the earnings starting in 2023 and 30% in the following year. So don't make your own small business because you will be taxed accordingly. Canada plans to implement a digital service tax on tech giants at a rate of 3% of revenue. Guess we're going to start getting walled off in Canada. It would be effective January 1st, 2022. Until an acceptable multilateral approach comes into effect, the tax is projected to raise $3.4 billion in revenue over 5 years. Sure. The government will impose a luxury tax on high-cost items. Because remember, socialists don't care about little people. They don't care about the working class. They just hate the rich. You want to see millionaires? You want to see billionaires? You want to see job creators start to leave the country? Impose your fucking luxury tax. What is this, monopoly? Like boats and expensive cars. It starts at boats and expensive cars, and it eventually starts moving to multiple cars in one family. It eventually starts moving towards luxury items such as snowmobiles, side-by-sides, quads. No. You just have a yacht right now. We got to tax you for that because you can afford to pay it, right? Oh, then you got a motorboat because you and your grandkids like to go out on the lake and you guys like to fish. Make sure you get your permits in order to do that. This is the beginning of a slippery slope, and I fucking hate it. And also, Canada will impose a 1% tax on the value of real estate held by foreigners. Weird. If the property is left vacant beginning in 2022, it estimates the measure will generate $700 million over 4 years. So if you own a home in Canada, you live abroad, I don't know how that would be affected by the fact that Canada still has some of the strictest fucking travel measures, even though that every fucking province is starting to lock down harder and harder. They're not thinking this through. It's clear by the fact that the big budget only allocates $17 billion for actually doing stuff. And that's housing and infrastructure. Nothing to say that anything's going to get repaired with that $17 billion. No. It can probably just go into affordable housing, which is just ghettos and fucking vote farms for liberals. That's fine. I hate this budget. I hate it a lot. And it's even worse that I can't even go to the CTV website, can't go to the CBC, can't go to Global to get fucking accurate, fair, honest reporting. I could barely go to Bloomberg and get honest, fair reporting. At least it's accurate. That's not even the worst of what they did today. I'd love to end on a fucking high note, but it's impossible when you're talking about Trudeau, unless you're talking literally high. Because he has his fucking heritage minister out here again saying, Internet censorship bill will make Canadians safer. How? How will it make people safer? Oh no, they can't say the mean things online. Okay, just get offline, and guess what? Those mean things immediately start to go away. No. We need to protect our most marginalized groups because they are the ones who they get the most hate online, like politicians. Heritage Minister Stephen Gobet will introduce the first ever internet control bill, which will be tabled in Parliament within the next couple of weeks, to reveal during a video conference. My job is to ensure the safety and security of the Canadian population. I don't want your help. I don't want you to keep me safe and secure. I'd like for you to keep the border safe and secure. I would like for you to not import a bunch of terrorists, but I guess that's out of your scope of practice. Instead, you just like to focus at all of your critics on Twitter. Soft cheese sucking dickhead. Gibault revealed that the legislation is being tabled in the first step in creating first step. Remember, a safer environment for all people online, and is just not for a handful. I swear to God, I'm eventually going to have to move to the United States out of necessity, because saying anything in opposition to the government will eventually be, because remember, this is just the first step, because it works so well for the United Kingdom. Better not make my mother's dog do a fucking sea kyle. With the legislation we will be tabling, it won't matter whether or not the company is Canadian. Oh good. One world government, one idiot at a time. It won't matter where the company is registered or whether their servers are located. It's time to leave, guys. Time to leave. So we'll be looking forward to whatever this is supposed to be restricting. And oh, I'm sorry. By restricting, I mean keeping everybody safe about in the next couple of weeks. So I guess you can enjoy sort of free speech for the time being until this asshole wants to enact it. Hopefully, maybe a fucking snap election will get called in the meantime. And of course, that will happen only when the NDP decide that they are going to make some bold changes, right? And you got reported on it a bunch of different times. So Alberta is currently in a stage, I don't know, fucking soft communist takeover. Barely anything's open, just essential businesses again, because gyms are too dangerous and whatever. Don't go outside, don't have fun, wear your mask outside, look like a fruit, and I can just laugh at you internally while I'm outside running or just doing fun things that normal people used to do. Quebec, I don't know, I'm pretty sure that they still have their 4-week curfew that was started in the middle of November, because there's no spines in Quebec. Manitoba was locking down super hard as well. Saskatchewan, I just think that they just took a look around, couldn't find anybody else in the entire province. So they're just like, yeah, fuck it, whatever. I think there's more stray dogs in Saskatchewan than there are actual people. Saskatchewan's not a real place. But Ontario, Doug Ford is out cracking his late brother. Rob Ford grabbed all the headlines a few years ago when he was recreationally smoking crack, because that's something you can do, but whatever. He's got Ontario in a fucking chokehold right now, but over the weekend he's just kind of let up a little bit by not imposing a curfew, because haven't you heard the coof? The coof is very sensitive to sunlight, and it only comes out during the day. But as soon as nightfall approaches or 8 p.m. in the evening approaches, guess what? It is fucking unrampant. It is rampant. It is like a mugger in a dark alley. It is coming for you. It's coming for your kids. It might even affect your dog. Who knows? Don't go outside. Be scared. Lockdown. Don't worry. It's only for a couple of days, but it'll actually end up being for a few months. Just case in point, just look a little bit to the east for Quebec for assistance. But Doug Ford didn't want to do that, because he's like, wait a minute, lockdowns aren't working. Okay, even the WHO agrees, CDC agrees. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna lock down, but we're not going to impose a curfew. That would be a good thing. Not if you're the leader of the NDP. He thinks, and I used to give this guy the benefit of the doubt. Okay, I used to hear him speak, used to hear him deliver his message, and he seemed genuine. I didn't like what he was saying, but he did seem genuine. And that was the benefit of the doubt that I used to give Joe Biden as well. I used to think that he was kind of a decent human being. What he was saying, I didn't really agree with him, but then he started to double down, and maybe he started to believe his own bullshit. And this motherfucker right here, Jagmeet Singh asked Trudeau to invoke Emergency Measures Act in Ontario. Why? And what is the Emergency Measures Act? The Federal Emergency Act was known until 1988 as the War Measures Act. Justin's father, Pierre, famously invoked the act during the October crisis. Oh, history repeats itself. Pierre Trudeau needs his own spotlight one day, like I said, when the media starts slowing down, or whenever I need a day off, which is probably quickly coming up, and I can do some evergreen spotlights. Pierre Trudeau is going to be getting one, because that motherfucker is lionized out east as just the greatest prime minister who has ever prime ministered ever. And out west, you hear the name Trudeau and you get this guttural feeling that food poisoning does not adequately describe. It's kind of like if you get one of those toilet snakes that you'd see at like the bowling alley. It's like if you get that rammed up your asshole and then turned on full blast. It's almost like that. It's an appropriate analogy because I think it would have to be accompanied by another toilet snake going down your throat. And that's what you get when you're dealing with the Trudeaus, at least in Alberta. We could go down to the SPCA and see what some of the relatives from Saskatchewan would think as well. But let's wrap this up with this fucking nut job. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh has asked Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to consider invoking the Federal Emergencies Act in order to help Ontario by creating an actual police state. Okay, that's a bold move, Cotton. The Federal Emergencies Act was known until 1988 as the War Measures Act, and yeah, it was invoked by Pierre during the October crisis in 70, 20 years before I was born. In a statement on Twitter, Singh wrote that this could help make sure vaccines are getting to people who need them and help sick workers get paid when they stay home. Okay, comrade. Listen, the dude you're appealing to didn't buy and didn't get access to enough vaccines in order to ensure everybody can get a hold of them. He fucked this up on a massive proportion. There's a reason why we're flirting with 50th on a list of countries to be vaccinated. One of the lowest first world, quickly becoming a second world country. Oh, this is so dumb. We must do everything possible to keep people safe. No, that's not your job as the government. That's not what you're supposed to do. This act is considered one of the most dramatic decisions a government can make in Canada. This would effectively allow Trudeau's government to claim a significant amount of power. Significant, like what Gretchen Whitmer is exerting over Michigan, that is usually allocated to the provinces. According to the law professor at the University of Ottawa, this act is the stiffest government emergency powers of any emergency law in Canada. Emergency, emergency, emergency. Singh believes this legislation is necessary as a result of steepening number of cases in Ontario, and only because Doug Ford wouldn't take it upon himself to lock down harder. I hate Jagmeet Singh. I can say that with full-throated support in my statement. I think he is one of the worst politicians currently. He is the same guy who asked for a unanimous declaration that Canada is a racist country, and one member of the Bloc Québécois decided that that is not the case. Jagmeet Singh cussed him out as being a racist, and guess who got drug out of the House of Commons? The one MP who decided he wasn't going to submit to the raving of a lunatic. Fuck this cocksucking country. It is gone beyond repair. The opposition is not going to help you if they're voted in. They're just as bad. I've detailed how terrible Aaron O'Toole is. Aptly named, of course. He would be better than Trudeau. He would be better than Singh. I don't even know who's leading the Bloc Québécois at this point. It was Gilles Duceppe for a very long time, and I couldn't be asked. Unfortunately, Maxime Bernier has about a fraction of a percentage point when it comes to support. I don't know. I hope we get an election soon. I don't even know. I don't even know. All I can do is hope that Alberta kind of stay strong in maintaining their own sovereignty. But again, if this fucking act is on the table, it's tough to say really what the fuck's gonna happen. So yeah, sorry to end on a black pill today. Hopefully something good happens tomorrow. I don't know, highly doubt it. Maybe something will blow up and a couple of Antifa members will get taken out. That would be fun. With that said, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.